History tried to warn us about Napoleon, but we never listened. He wasn't just a leader, he was the kind of man who could rewrite fate itself. And the truth behind his rise is far stranger than the legend we all know. Before he became a ruler, he was a storm waiting for the world to notice. Before he became a legend, he was a boy who refused to accept limits. He grew up on a small island, yet he dreamed on a scale too big for maps. People around him sought comfort, while he hunted storms. Every defeat he saw around him carved a fire inside his chest. That fire pushed him to study war, like others study survival. When the French Revolution shook the nation, he stepped forward instead of hiding. He understood chaos not as danger, but as an open door for the brave. On the battlefield, he moved like someone who could see a second future. He predicted enemy steps with a mind sharper than any blade he carried. Victories followed him so fast that soldiers whispered he was unstoppable. To them, he was not just a general, but a rising force of nature. He rose through ranks as if the ladder feared slowing him down. Soon, France wanted a savior, and his name echoed across every street. He promised order, glory, and a new vision that felt larger than life. People followed him because he made them believe the impossible could kneel. As emperor, he stood on a peak few dared to imagine. Yet the height of power brings wind strong enough to cut pride. His hunger for more land turned his map into a growing flame. He marched millions under a vision that glittered and blinded at once. Europe trembled as his armies moved like a tide with iron in its veins. But no tide rises forever, even when led by a genius. The cold Russian winter became the enemy his cannons could not crush. Soldiers fell, supplies vanished, and hope grew thin as frozen air. His grand army returned not as conquerors, but as survivors. For the first time, his shadow outgrew his strength. Enemies who once feared him finally saw a crack in the armor. They united, pushed back, and forced him toward the edge of defeat. He was exiled, far from the roar that once carried his name. Yet legends rarely fade quietly, and neither did he. He returned for one final gamble, one last spark of glory. France rallied, believing the old fire still lived in him. For 100 days he rose again like a forgotten storm. But fate waited for him on the field of Waterloo. There he faced armies prepared not to fear him anymore. The battle crushed the last dream he carried into war. After defeat, he stood silent as if hearing history close a door. He was exiled again, this time to a place where ambition had no sky. On that lonely island, he looked back at a life shaped by fire and will. He wrote, remembered, and waited for the world to judge him. Some called him a tyrant, others a hero built from pure force. But no one denied that he changed the rhythm of nations. He turned victories into lessons and failures into warnings. His story endures because ambition is a fire everyone fears and admires. Today, his name reminds us that greatness always comes with a price. His rise inspires, his fall warns, and both shape the legend we remember. Napoleon's life proves that power is never safe in any hands for long, and that even the strongest man must someday face the truth he built.